I get to talk to them and ask the questions I want, and the audience gets, of course, gets to hear and gets a little education in the whole matter. And I really think, even as old as your case is, I think they do need to be better educated. I'm glad to see you revising the book and adding to it. I'm hoping this will help clear up some of the stuff. And personally, I like I said earlier in the show, I didn't see any reason for y'all to have been fabricating this in any shape, form, or fashion. And I'm thoroughly convinced over the years, and with all the steps y'all have personally taken, that y'all proven it to us beyond any reasonable doubt. I do think it's also BS with the double standard for evidence in the United States today, too. I'm still kind of in awe about the thing when you're telling me about that Fed. That's going to be bugging me. I just can't get past that one, guys. It's one of them things. Those kind of coincidences, and then the second one he was talking about right after that, when you start seeing coincidences like that, you got to stop and wonder, what else is going on here that I'm not either privy to or I can just barely see the surface of? Because, the more I listen to Stephen, the more I'm thinking there might have been something else, maybe something else going on here. I have to wonder what that saucer was doing up there, why it was there. And if it wasn't there for y'all, what was it actually there for? And if it was there for something, is our government aware that it was there for something? You see, you done opened up a whole new basket now, Travis.
Yeah. A lot of questions been nagging at me over the years, and that one's kind of grown.
Well, I can see that, and I will do everything I can to help you to try to shed some light on that, my friend, because it's one of the things I do, it's one of the things the organization I work for does, and it's one of the things that the station does. Anytime we can help in something like that, we can, and we've teamed up with some people over the last 2 years that work in federal areas, that work in, because we've been, when I told you earlier, we've been doing military abduction research, and that has led to some very interesting avenues and some very interesting contacts over the last couple of years. And I'm going to have to ask them about this, because I'm thinking this was no accident. I'm just thinking it was no accident at all. And let me ask you this now, low-level surveillance or low-level harassment might be what I was thinking you might have been experiencing. Harassment in the forms of, maybe phone calls not being answered or just odd things. Because I can tell you right now, they're listening to the radio show. There's a light on my telephone that lets you know if there's an open line while we're live, and the little red light's on. So they're listening to what we're saying tonight. Now, they probably do this a lot, because it's probably easier for them to research without having to go anywhere, just tap into the phone lines. But it still shows, even after all this time, they have an interest in what you're saying. They want to know what it is that you're talking about and what it is that you're doing. Now, before we get too far into this, any upcoming tours? Going to be hanging out anywhere anybody can see you, or?
I will be at the Walton, Nevada conference in February.
The last Walton, Nevada conference, by the way, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh yeah, they're moving it, being taken over, and they're moving that to the Valley, Phoenix. Yep,
to Phoenix. So, hopefully I can get out to Walton. A friend of mine, Melinda Leslie, is going to be speaking there, and Richard's going to be there as well. And Karen works there. There's another friend. So I'm gonna try to get out there to see you. I hate going to Walton. I always spend so much money at that damn casino. Oh, I can't help it, guys.
Well, Larry Warren's going to be there, and he's planning on putting on a conference in London next summer, and I'll be going to that one.
Yeah, well, that'll be excellent, because I got to do, Larry had been retired for a long, long time, and Peter Robbins actually got me an interview with him, the first he had done in years. And he's a blast to do an interview with, by the way. So he ought to be and a friend of mine, David, met him down in Laughlin, and said he was just great to hang out with. So y'all should just love it. I hear he's quite the character.
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
And I know, and I like him because he speaks his mind.
Yeah.
He doesn't pull the punches. He doesn't try to feed you a bunch of BS. He just says, hey, this is how it is. This is what I think. And this is why I think it. And there's no guesswork to it, and I liked it. That's kind of nice. Rare, but nice, it was. Now, I'm going to get back in this ship, because first off, that room that you stumbled into where you were hitting the buttons all kind of just, it fascinates me. But I was thinking there must have been something you were pushing or touching that worried somebody, because that's when they actually came looking for you.
Yeah, that might be why they came, could be a coincidence, but, they showed up right at that time just because I was doing something dangerous.
Now, did you feel relieved when you seen like a human face, or I'm curious?
Oh yeah, immediately. I thought, hey, I'm rescued. These guys are going to take me out of here.
Yeah, because, I'm listening to your description with the helmet and all. I'm thinking, well, he sounds like, might be an astronaut, and he found out where he was, and they were sending somebody to get him. It's not until you get further into it, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, something's not right here. Now,
right.
Did you get a sense?
Not answering my questions, I know, and that that just didn't jive.
Oh, no. Now I was getting ready to ask you, I mean, I know they weren't, you were asking questions and they weren't answering. Did you get a sense that they might have been communicating with each other?
Well, they certainly, were cooperating with each other, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to tell without any movement or lip movement. In that room where the two men and the women were, and somebody had asked me earlier, they wanted to know, now I'm trying to think, they wanted to know what it was about, they wanted to know why, if you might have had any ideas why the one guy might have been wearing a helmet and the other ones weren't.
Well, that kind of makes me feel uneasy because if he was protecting himself from the atmosphere inside there, was it because of the components of the gases in there? Was my feeling of suffocation because there wasn't enough oxygen in there, or was that just some medical problem I had because I had been hit by the beam? I don't know, but, or was he protecting himself from something else?
Yeah, because I was wondering about that
because the other humans weren't wearing that, but they didn't enter the other ship.
And see, that was my thoughts, because he entered that ship. Well, you've been around a while. Apparently, it wasn't nothing too bad. You got to kind of wonder that.
Yeah.
But, something made him uncomfortable. Or, I would say it was you, but if the other guys weren't, or maybe they scanned you along the way and realized they didn't need to. I guess there's no way of knowing, but that does kind of make me wonder what was it on that ship. Now that's the ship though where you seen the three shorter ones, about under 5 foot, the ones that are kind of whitish colored.
Right.
Now color-wise, I mean, I'm trying to get this in my head. It was like because I heard you say like marshmallow, so it was kind of like a solid white, no color to it or anything like that.
It was a grayish white, but it was just the marshmallow was also sort of the soft look they had to them. And color, the lighting was pretty dim.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next, is the lighting, because I know being a contractor, if I take a paint sample and put it under like sunlight, fluorescent light, or regular light, it looks different on each one. That's why I was curious about the color, because I can understand if it's a real dim, low light, it might actually kind of skew the actual color.
Yeah, I imagine it did.
And of course, but you give an excellent description of them, like the eyes. I mean, I haven't heard much better description of that. And, and I hate to ask you this because I know how you feel about it, but when you looked in the eyes, I mean, you had a sense like they were staring right through you, like they were just, because I get the weirdest descriptions when people tell me about these eyes staring at them. I mean,
other people feel that too?
Yeah, they said it's like it's going through them. It's like a fear, but not a fear at the same time. But it's almost like they say it's like it rivets them to whatever they're doing, like against a wall, against a table. It's almost like there's a physical force there when there actually isn't. And I was trying to get
it's like they can sort of look into you with this feeling that they're seeing. You can't hide what you're thinking, and that I guess it's maybe kind of the lack of empathy there, it's the detachment. I interpreted that as hostility at the time, although I can't say why that would be.
Mainly because they zapped you with a beam and drug you in spacecraft. I don't think he could have treated it any other way. I mean, if they would have came down and said, "Hi, Travis, I'm such and such alien. Come on board. We want to talk," but might have been a little different. But knocking you 10 feet back and then dragging you on board a ship and putting you on a table and staring at you, I don't know, man. I'm kind of with you on this one. That's not the best way to make first contact.
Well, they weren't making threatening motions. They weren't, physically attacking me. I can't know for sure that the pain I was experiencing since then.
Well, it sounded like some of that was, residual from whenever that beam was that hit you, but still, who was the one that actually shot the beam at you?
Yeah, because the pain seemed to be, it was like all over, but it was mostly in my head and chest area. and the crew said that's where the beam hit me.
Yeah, that's I remember.